Hey y'all, it's your girl Jada J. So here I am with the episode 5, Too Close to Home review. Alright. And I actually do not know what the name of this episode was, so I have to go back and check that. But okay. So we open up at Brody's house, okay? So he fell asleep like in the same room as his dad. He was probably watching him sleep, fell asleep, the little. So he's checking his phone. And I already knew, I was like, oh, he's trying to see what time Bonnie's coming. So then he checks out the window. He sees, she's not out there, whatever. So he calls and leaves a message like, where are you at? That was just a short little snippet. Then we switch to the diner. Now Bonnie she just woke up because he choked her unconscious, right? So she on the floor, she trying to get her breath, coughing. That was a real cough, y'all. Was coughing and all that. So here go the dude. Are you okay? He was like, you awake? Like, what is wrong with you? You just choked me out. Nigga. Are you okay? So she's like, why did you do that? Like, what's your, got her hand on her throat. Like, what are you doing? So he was like, you don't know why I'm here or whatever. She was like, nah. She was like, just take the money in the register. He gonna say, how much is it? She said $420. He was like, nah, I'm not here to rob you. You think this is about $420? She was like, I don't know what it's about. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. He was like, you're a sweet girl. I'm not gonna rob you. She was like, then what is it? He was like, your man. She was like, my man? What are you talking about? He was like, I think you call him JB. She's like, yeah, what about him? He goes, he took a lot of money from me, and he needs to get it back. If he don't get it back to me in 18 hours, everybody in this witch is dead. Okay. So she's like, I really don't know what you're talking about. Like, could you please explain it to me? He goes, do you have a sister? So she doesn't answer him. So he laughs. He's like, it's okay. You could tell me. I'm not gonna hurt her. He goes, I mean, at least I don't think so. And then so he goes, do you have a sister? Like, more demanding this time. Like, you don't have a choice. Do you have a sister? So then she's just like, no. And he's like, you're busting my ass. He was like, I already know you have a sister, and I'm a killer if she don't give me my money. Because he said JB already told me that your sister is the one who drove off with the load and whoop de whoop de whoop. Okay, so he's like, you really are a sweet girl, like trying to protect your family in this. So then the sheriff rolls up, right? Yeah. Because first he threatens, he's like, I'm going to kill all three of you and shove you in a corner. If you don't come up with my money. Okay. So then a car rolls up. I couldn't see who it was. I didn't know who it was at first. So there's the sheriff. So it cut to the theme song first. And then it came back and it was the sheriff coming up the stairs. And he goes, he's dead. And she's like, no, please, please. Like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to. He was like, you're not going to say nothing? She was like, no, I'm not. He was like, wow, you really actually care about the people in your town? She was like, yeah, please. Like, he's my friend. He's got children. He's not going to. He was like, okay, but if you do anything, he's dead and so are you. And she's like, all right. So the sheriff is coming in, so he already kind of suspected him. Remember the first time they see each other, which was last week, he was like, is he new in town or something? She was like, I don't know. Like, I never seen him. And then so he's like, yeah, like he looks new or something, but like didn't leave it there, right? So he's coming in, and so he's like, Bonnie, is everything all right? Eyeing him up and down, like, what are you doing here? She's like, oh yeah, everything's fine, everything's. He's like, you sure? Like, looking on down at him, like, if you need me to handle this. He's like, what's going on in here? She was like, oh, nothing, I was just talking about Anna. And he was like, oh, he knows Anna. She was like, no, like, he was just listening. And he was like, oh, that's really nice. He goes, what did you say your name was again? Because he asked her the first time, and she tried to derail it. She was like, oh, he's just listening about Anna. And he goes, oh, okay, that's real nice. So what'd you say your name was again? So he goes, oh, it's Marty. He goes, and your last name? So then she derails him. She's like, oh, you can go ahead, Marty. Like, thanks so much for listening and all this. And he goes, I didn't get your last name. And so he goes, Doe. He goes, as in John Doe? He goes, Marty Doe. He goes, okay, Marty Doe. Do you have, like, where are you from? So then she's like, all right, Marty, thanks. I'll get it you. I'll talk to you later. He's like, are you sure? She's like, yeah, I'm sure. She goes, good night, Marty. And then so he leaves out. So as he's leaving, so he's looking at him and like as he's leaving, she's like, sheriff, like, what's up or whatever. Is everything okay? So he keeps trying to talk to her. And so she switches. He goes, who is that guy? She's like, what took you so long to get here when I called the first time? And he goes, oh, Miss Penrose, her and those cats. And so she's like, oh, okay. So he goes, who is that guy? She was like, oh, just a customer, sweet guy, just a late customer. And he's like, well, he looks like he's bad news. Like, you need to be careful with him. And she's like, all right. So then, okay, let's get up out of here. That's how that went. All right. So then we switch to Anna and Victor in the car. You know, so he's like, dang, like it's really nothing out here. She was like, nope, this is happy Alabama. And he's like, well, they don't look so happy to me. You know what I'm saying? So she's like, I mean, it's not. He was like, you could just smell the cow manure. No, he goes, it looks like cow manure. She was like, yep, you can smell it too. So they had their little thing. He's driving. He sees a bar, and he's like, "Oh snap, that's the bar." She goes, "Oh please don't go in there. Like, promise me you're not gonna go in there." He's like, "Why?" She was like, "Look, outsiders are not. They not really found outsiders in this town." And he's like, "What are you talking about?" She was like, "Look, tight jeans and with slits in them and perfectly styled hair. That's not how we rolling in this town." He's like, "So what are you saying? Like I make a statement by the way I dress and all that?" She was like, "No, I'm just saying that you're pretty." And you know people in this town don't like pretty, and he was like, well thank you. He's like, and also I can see that. So he was kind of shady, but she didn't take offense to it because she don't even like her hometown. You know, somebody else would be like, did you just try and shade me, like my hometown and all that? Nah. Okay. So then he's like, so I guess I'll just stay at the hotel, or maybe I could stay, unless I can stay with you and your family. And she's like, oh, no, no. Like, I don't think that's a good idea. He's like, why? And she was just, I haven't seen them in a long, long time, so even I kind of have to work my way back in. And he was like, okay, I get it. He's like, so I guess I'll drop you off and then come back to the Peppermill Inn. He's like, howdy, and just all that. Just, I don't know about those two. Like I said, y'all, I don't know if he doesn't die, because what they tease for next week, he is looking not that good. And the sheriff looks like he's not trusting him to save his life. Like he brought him there, but you know, Dr. Allen now has Alzheimer's. So he's told him, telling Brody or something like that, give him 10 cc's of this. And the sheriff is looking at Brody and he's like, no, like don't do it. Like he probably doesn't remember. So I don't know. But he's like, do you really want to murder here? So I think Brody's telling him to risk it. Anyway, so then we switch back to Bonnie's trailer, and the kids are out there. And so even now they've seen the news story. And I guess we find out Annie has a daughter named Rebel. Effed up attitude. I completely understand though. So Rebel is watching, and she's sitting up there. She said, come here. He said, what's this? She said, oh, she having an affair with the president. He's like, nah, she wouldn't do that. She was like, that's what they saying. She just slept with the president, did something to the president, you know, got all a messed up attitude. Of course, like I said, I get it. That was a short little snippet. Then we switched to Bonnie. So she gets the motorcycle. She roll. I said, okay, girl, go ahead on the motorcycle. So she pull up at Brody's house, right? So he come outside. He was like, oh my God, I was so worried. She was like, I'm fine. He was like, I was gonna call. Like, I know. He's like, I was about to come looking for you. She was like, oh, I'm sorry. You know, I'm okay. And so he's like, all right, you know, come on in. She's like, no, I gotta go. I gotta go. And he's like, no, like, come in. She's like, no, I have to go. So she tries to like walk past him real quick, and he grabs her, and he's like, Bonnie, you're upset. And she's like, no, like I'm not. And she's like, why would I be upset? He was like, because I called Annie. So you're upset. She's like, no, I'm not. Like, how many times do I have to tell you? You and I are not together. You could do whatever you want. And then so he kisses her, you know, mid-sentence. And so she kisses him back a little bit. Then she says, nah, like, we can't even be doing this right. We can't even be doing this. You know what I'm saying? You know, he's like, you know, I'm not, he's like, I'm not sorry at all. Like, I'm not sorry about nothing. She was like, see, that's why if we can't keep it strictly business with just me looking out for your dad, then we're over it. And he was like, okay, so she about to leave. He was like, can we at least talk about my dad? She was like, sure. Like, what's up? You know, he was like, so how are we going to do this? She was like I said, after night, sometimes after I get out of work, I'll come and sit with them. Whoop-de-whoop. He was like, that'll be great. So then he's like, so why did you just end the relationship so suddenly? And just, they're going into all this. Like, what were you doing with JB? And she says, look, I'm over it. And like I said, if you can't keep it strictly whatever, then yeah. And then so he's like, okay, like I'm not gonna lie, I'm not over you. But if that's what you want, we could do that. She was like, why did you beat up JB so hard? He was like, oh, he shouldn't have touched you. She was like, are you sure that's all? He was like, he shouldn't have touched you ever. You know, talk about y'all shouldn't even been in a relationship. Like nothing should have been happening. She was like, look, I made my decision. And he was like, why? Like, why would you just, she was like, look, it's over and done with. Okay. So he's now saying, so she's like, look, like I told you, I think that you like me because you see Annie in me. And I keep telling you, like, I'm never going to be Annie. He's like, is that why you run off with JB? She was like, look, just forget about it, you know? So then she tries, so she leaving. He's like, all right, you know, he not really okay with it. He's still going to be trying to get with Bonnie. I'm declaring it, okay? Just because she said I'm over it, that don't mean he is. He's not, all right? So then we switch back to Victor. Okay, so he's dropping her off. And so he pulls up. He's like, "Is this it?" She like, "Yeah." He's like, Then she goes, "You see why I lied about where I came from?" He was like, "It's not that bad." And they both have a little laugh. And so he's like, "You want me to just wait till you get in there?" She was like, "Nah, somebody's always awake." Then he's like, "All right, so I'm gonna get some rest for the night. Then I'm gonna come back tomorrow and I'm gonna let you know like I'm leaving." She was like, "I'd appreciate that." They give each other this long hug, which again leads me to believe, I don't know, because I would say that Victor is gay. I would say that. But what would have been the point of Tyler giving us he's into both men and women? And we find that out when he's alone in the car with Anna. I don't know what Tyler's doing with that, if anything. I'm just saying. So yeah, they give each other this long hug. Then she gets out of the car, and he's like, "You want me to wait?" And she's like, "Nah, I'm good." He's like, "You got it," and gives her this little smile. I was over it. Okay, so then he's good looking. I think that I don't know. I'm over it. Anyway, so she goes and knocks on her mama's door. See, I didn't know that was her mom. I thought she was right over there with the kids, but not. And so Mac looks out the window and he goes, "It's Aunt Ann. It's Aunt Annie." So she's like, "No, don't open the door, Mac." And he's like, "I'm going out there. Like, what are you talking about?" So she over there knocking on the door. And we see the kid, Mac is getting up and about to run out. Okay. So then we switch back to JB. He waking up from being knocked the heck out. We remember last week, Rick hit him in the back of the head, which is Shelby's person for drugs, whatever, her boyfriend, I don't know. I'm over it. Yeah, so he wakes up, he's like, "That B," talking about Shelby. So he runs out, gets in the truck, drives away. Little does he know they were hiding behind the little garbage can in the cut the whole time. Okay, yeah. Got you, JB. Yeah, we're over you. So they come out from behind she's like, "Is he gone?" He's like, "Yeah." So they come out from behind the trash can holding hands like they just got off a date or something. I'm like, "Girl, you hanging out behind the trash can. Like, what? We're not coming out holding hands." Anyway, so she was like, so then she goes, "Rick," and he's thinking like she gonna ask him, "Are you okay?" Because he goes, "I'm fine." She goes, "No, you big idiot, like you used it all," talking about the drugs. And he's like, "Come on, Shelby, like I already told you, you left me in there just sitting there." She was like, "Yeah, but I wanted some." And she goes, he took all the money, didn't he?" And he's like, "I'm gonna get it back or whatever." She was like, "No, I wanted some of that." He was like, "Look, you left, you snooze, you lose." And she's like, "No," and she walks off. And then he goes, "Shelby, I love you," like just out of nowhere, like they are really on drugs heavy. I hope they get some help. And so she's like, "Just bye," and she walks off and he goes the other way. We're over it. Okay. Then wait a minute. Okay, yeah. Victor rolls up on scene because I guess they're staying at the Peppermill as well, Shelby and her dude. So Victor rolls up and he see where the Peppermill is, the bar is literally like right across the lot. So Victor gets out the car, he see the bar, he thinking he was contemplating, he was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go over there." So he goes in the bar, comes up to the bartender, he's already doing too much. He's like, "Howdy," and then so the bartender dude, he like, "Hi," like we don't do all that country stuff. Like that's just a stereotype. Like that's how he did him. You just be thinking everybody does that howdy or y'all thing, and you just come up on them. They talk about some hi. Like that's how he did him. So he sit up there. Okay, like, "Can I get a martini? Neat." He said, "A martini." He was like, "Yeah, neat." So then he goes, "Lily, this guy here wants a martini, a fruity drink." He goes and he looks at him. He goes, "She makes the fruity drinks." And then Victor's like, "It's not a fruity drink." And then so she comes up. She's like, "What do you want?" And he goes, "A martini." And so she's making it, whatever. And he goes, "Neat." And she goes, "Okay." Like, so she's pouring it. And he's like, "You ain't got no glass?" And she's like, "No, babe. And as a matter of fact, you might want to go ahead and take the cup and go." And he's like, "Well, what do you mean?" She was like, "Look, I'm just warning you. You should probably dip up out of here, like, and do it now." Okay. So he's like, "Thanks, but I'm a big boy." She goes, "Okay, babe, but I don't say I didn't warn you." He's like, "I love a good warning." I was like, "What are you doing?" Like, it was just ridiculous. So Shelby rolls up. No, and then he tries to walk away. He's like, "Cheers." And he tries to walk away. She goes, "Where's the money?" And she goes, "We take credit too." It was just a little, he gave her the card. She's like, "We're going to open up a tab for you." I was over it. Okay. So then Shelby comes up. Okay. The little hooker shorts she was wearing were over it. All right. we giving her a pass because we know the drugs are controlling her mind. Not a pass, but just we don't want to pick on her too much yet. All right. So she come up, he like, oh girl, those are some nice shorts, whatever. So Shelby just automatically assume he's picking her up. So she goes, thanks, honey, get me a drink. Or he was like, oh girl, like I wasn't trying to get you a drink or nothing. I was just commenting on the shorts, like the shorts look nice. And she's like, oh really? Like, why aren't you trying to get with me? And so he's like, what did he say? He goes, you're just not my type. And she goes, well, I think I can be. And, tries to slide all up on him. He ain't going for it. He said, unless you're a dude. And then so she was like, what? And so she was like, oh, I don't want to say the word, that F word that people use for homosexuals sometimes, that offensive term. I'm over it. Yeah, so he goes, that's offensive. And she goes, well, I don't know what else to call you. He was like, I'm gay, honey. Sometimes, because, we just find out he likes, apparently, men and women. We're over you. Make up your mind. All right. So, that's not our whole thing about that. We're over that, too. People get so, like, I'm over it. Never mind. That's another video. It's another one. Just another video. So, so he's like, that's just an offensive term, honey. That's just like me calling you trailer park trash. And she goes, I'm sorry. Like, look, like you kind of sassy. Like, I like it. You know what I'm saying? Shelby and him might be able to work, our little friendship out. So she's like, you need to go ahead and get me a drink. So she's like, I'm sorry. Just get me a drink. So that she tells Lily, because we know she in there drinking all the time on a first name basis and everything. Lily, get me a drink and put it on his tab. She was like, girl, I don't think he want to get you a drink. She was like, no, he's fine. She goes, look, I'm sorry. All right, I had a heck of a night. Just give me a drink. So got him a drink, got her a drink, and then they're out on the dance. She's like, come on, baby. And they just I'm over it. Okay, we're over it. Shelby's a mess. All right. So then we switch back to Anna, and the kids run out because she's coming from mom's trailer because nobody's answering the door. She doesn't know she's bedridden. So everybody, all the kids, well, both of the kids, Rebel and Mac, come out the house. And so he's like, hey, and she's like, how are you? Rebel we didn't know at this point that Rebel is her daughter. So I'm just like, what's going on? Because I wouldn't act like that if my aunt, like, okay, I get being close to your aunt. But if my aunt would have just not been, like, if she would have just picked up and left, I would have just been like, where was you at? Like, but I wouldn't have acted like that. So I said, wait a minute, does Annie have a daughter? Because she looking mighty young herself to have a daughter her age. And I said the same thing about Shelby. Let me find out their father got both of them pregnant. I'm over it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to handle all that, Tyler. Ease up. Okay. So I don't know. Maybe they was just out there messing around as teens. It's not unheard of. No shade. So, yeah, Rebel and Mac come out, and so she's like, can I come in? And Mac says yes. At the same time, he's saying yes. Rebel says no. So they have this thing. Eventually, she's able to come in, and they're in there having a conversation. And so she goes, why isn't... Well, actually, it became a thing with her and Rebel. And she goes, where have you been? And she's like, I need to just go out there and make this money so I can support us. And Rebel's like, I'm not a kid. Like, don't give me the bull crap. I know you lying. She was like, your grandma didn't tell you I was out there working? She was like, oh, yeah, she told us, all right. And why are you here? You out there screwing the president? I said, oh, wait a minute. Is this... And that's when I really started to think that was her mom. And she was really upset with her because she left. So that is what was happening, because that's what was happening. So she's like, no. So Mac is like, no, like she wouldn't do that. She's like, that's what they're saying on the news. They said you had an affair with the president, that you did something to him. She's like, no, I didn't. And she's like, why can't mama answer the door? And she's like, go see for yourself. And Mac is like, Annie, don't go over there. And she's like, what are you talking about? She was like, I would deliver her, because then she goes, she needs dinner anyway. Like, go take the food to her. And she's like, I would, but she won't answer the door. She goes, she can't. Why? Is she sick in the head? That's Rebel. And Mac is like, just calm down. Like, stop talking to her. Like, she's like, what you gonna do? He goes, I'm gonna tell Bonnie when she get home. My Aunt Bonnie. So then that kind of shut the girl up real quick. Like, oh, okay, Aunt Bonnie don't play. But then she was like, take this food over there. So they arguing back and forth, because he's like, no, I'll take it. And so she's like, Rebel's like, no, she gonna take it, because we've been doing it. She was like, okay, guys, just stop arguing. I'm gonna go over there. So she go over there. Appreciate how Tyler did this, because I was like, please don't go to another scene and then come back, Tyler. Just give us what we want. Okay. So it immediately switches to her going over there to the trailer to see her mama. Okay, so she comes in and immediately the smell hits her because you could tell, and it's a mess in there. We hear flies. Okay, I was hearing flies. Did you guys get flies? Unless that was like something else going on. Maybe it just fit the effect. So anyway, she's in there. She's going in, looking around. She got the food in her hand, and she gets in the room, and she sees that her mom has gotten bigger. Because I guess she said her mom was big already when she left. Well, her mom said, she goes, I was big already when you left. And okay, we'll get into it in a minute. But so she comes in and her mom is on the bed, she can't move. And then she gets into the scene. She goes, well, if it isn't Annie, she goes, well, how are you, sweetie? Got the kind of like a sarcastic attitude, like, I know what you've been doing. And I'm not thrilled to see you. Okay, that I'm not thrilled about it at all. So she's just like, I'm fine, mama. And she's like covering her nose stuff and just all this. And so she's like, you having an affair? She was like, I heard about you on the news. Are you okay? She goes, yeah, I'm fine, mama. She goes, you having an affair with the president? What did you do to him? She goes, I didn't do anything to the president. She goes, on the news, they say you're having an affair with him. Is that true or not? She goes, no, mama, that's not true. She goes, you're lying. She goes, no, my mom. She goes, oh, yeah, you lying. She's the plate in her hand. She goes, is that my food? She's like, yeah. So she puts it on the bed, like at the end of the bed. And she's like, come a little closer. I don't bite. But she said it creepy. Like, she nailed that. That actress, love her. And she was on Glee, too. I liked her on Glee. She was Marley's mother. So then she tries to put the plate, like, a little bit closer. And then she's like, girl, I can't reach it from there. Like, if you don't move it closer, like, I'm gonna hit you. She seemed like that kind of mama. Maybe that's why they're at odds. So then she comes a little closer. She's like, aren't you even gonna give me a hug? Like, looks at her just disgusted. So she's giving her a hug, and she's looking like she's gonna vomit. And it was this long hug, too. She patting her on the back and all this. So then she finally lets her go. And it just comes to this whole thing. Oh, you left and you didn't even call us. You left to sit a fend for that little daughter of yours. That little witch is as mean as a copper-headed snake, and you up there living in a mansion. We heard he had you up there living real nice, giving you dollars and whatnot, and you couldn't give us a daggone dime. Oh, it wasn't like that. So then she tells her, she goes, don't lie to me again. She was like, oh yeah, I know I disgust you. I make you sick, huh? I make you sick? No, mama. She said, don't you lie to me. Don't you lie to me. She was like, look at you, skinny. I would never want to be that skinny. She goes, look like your father. Just, you making me sick. So then at one point, she's about to vomit. Like, and she was like, it wasn't like that, mom. And just, so she goes, don't you get sick in here. Don't you even get sick in here. She goes, get on out of here. We're not done with this conversation. So she leaves out. All right. So, and then she tells her, she goes, I thought you skipped that gene. She goes, what gene? She goes, that little tramp gene that your sisters got. Bonnie and Shelby got a big whop of it. I was so proud of you. And then I hear about this on the news, and you bring all this shame to your family. So yeah, she definitely seemed like that mama who was just always, girl, what did you say? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's fine when they deserve it. Okay, but you just, on everything. She said, girl, if you don't move that plate over here, it looked like she got scared. I said, wait a minute. So she wasn't ready for that. So and then she tells her, she goes, I got a broken knee. And she goes, I don't know why you're looking at me like that, because I was big before you left here. And she was like, maybe not as big as I am now, but you've been gone 4 years, Annie. And she goes, I'm sorry. She goes, yeah, you feel sorry for me? She goes, I'm just sorry that you broke your knee. So then we switch back to the diner, okay? So JB rolls up, and he assumes that it's Rick's car. So he goes, there's that son of a bee. And he gets out of the car, and he starts, like, beating the mess out of it, And so he's trying to get in the car. It's locked. So Bonnie sees him. She driving up. She sees him. She pulls in. She pulls him off. She's like, what are you doing? He's like, what's happening? Like, what are you talking about? I didn't understand that. Like, we shouldn't be opposite. Like, I should be asking you, So he's like, what's going on? Like, what are you doing here? And she's like, well, you tell me, why did some guy come up in here and choke the life out of me, talking about you stole something from him. What do you say? He was like, somebody came to see you? And she's like, yeah, he choked the life out of me. Why, JB? You know, she hitting him. And he's like, oh, babe, you know, I'm sorry. And this, that. She was like, forget about the I'm sorry. It's like, what are you talking about? He was like, it's your sister's fault, though. She took my load. And she goes, what was in the load? Like, what's the problem? Why is this guy coming to see me? And he goes, there's nothing. It was just my load, like the regular thing. She's like, no. Ain't nobody doing all that for a load, just a regular one. Ain't nobody doing that for no computers or something, she said. So he's like, you know, they told me, he goes, I only did it once. And she goes, what did you do? He goes, they told me they would give me 30 grand if I just made this one drop. She said, was it drugs? He said, yeah. She said, oh, okay. Smack! And she smacked the mess out of him. So he turned, like, just, it was like a pop, like, you know, that, you know. So he turns around and he's like, I'm sorry. She's like, don't say that. Don't say you sorry to me no more. He's like, I did it for us. You know, just like, I did it for us. I did it for me and you. So she goes, you don't care about me. He was like, no, I saw your mama struggling. I saw you helping the kids. She said, you don't care about me or my family. He said, that's all I care about, Bonnie. Why else would I be doing this? And he's young. She's like, She wasn't even fazed by it. She was just like, nah, homie, like, I'm over you. And blew up out of there and was over it. And he gonna try and run up talking about, I need your help. I need your help. Nah. She got up in the car and sped away. And he didn't try to run up in the car and all this. Nah, dude, we're over you. You need to get your life, get yourself together. Then we switch back to the bar. Victor. Victor is up in there partying it up with Shelby. He's like, girl, you looking good in them shorts. She like, oh, okay, you looking nice in your outfit too. Like, what's up? They dancing. So he grabs this dude though, like, you know, fills him up. So the dude is like, So he moved because the dude was dancing with some girl. So he moves. And so Victor not even really thinking because, you know, he drunk. So is Shelby. So then the bartenders, they both come like, okay, y'all need to get up out of here. Y'all are both drunk. And girl, you gonna get him in trouble because he definitely had too much to drink. Touching up on guys and whatnot. Nah, that'll get him killed around here. And she was like, come on, you know, I make you guys a lot of money. Just bring us some shots. And they're like, nah, you need to get up out of here. Like, what are you doing? We're over it. Okay. Then we switch back. No, wait a minute. Then we switch back to Anna. So she's in there. She comes out of the trailer, right? So she's throwing up. So Rebel appears out of nowhere. Creepy as heck. I didn't appreciate that. She goes, you see? And she had her head just like, she goes, you see what we're talking about now? And Anna looks up and she's like, what happened to her? She goes, she got fat. She goes, no, but what? And disgusting. And like just cutting her off and everything. And so she's like, how did that happen? She goes, me and Mac and Bonnie, Aunt Bonnie, we have to deal with this every day. This is what you left us with. This is what you did. She goes, I'm sorry. She goes, nah. Save that I'm sorry, okay? You should have, if you were really sorry, you could have helped out around her even if you wasn't around. And she ran up back in the trailer. So then we switch back to the bar. Like I said, they drinking, okay? So who calls him is Dax. So, but he can't hear at first because he's too busy. Oh, yeah, and all the music is loud. So he goes out, he step outside. So it's Dex. He's like, hello? He like, yeah, where you at? And so Victor is like, I'm out. He was like, you out where? He like, are you calling to apologize? He said, I'm calling to make sure that you're safe. He's like, well, I think you need to apologize. He goes, I'm sorry. He's like, I don't believe you. He's like, I am. Now, please tell me where you're at. He goes, I'm at the honky tonk. He goes, you where? He's like, at a country bar. He's like, I'm loving it. I might need to get me one of these little country boys and show him a good time. So then Victor, I mean, Dax was kind of overdoing it for me. He was like, I don't know, maybe he knows, like, we know that, like, Victor was in some trouble before he met him. Was that what it was? Because he was dang near on the phone crying. He was like, I don't like you being by yourself. Like, it was really over the top, though. Like, what is your problem? You dang near said about to cry because your dude is by it. Like, he was like, I don't like you being by yourself. And he was dang, like, crying. And just all these awkward gestures. I was like, what is going, like, what is the problem? Does he know that Victor can be flamboyant? Is that what it is? And he's like worried, I'm guessing. So yeah, he's like, I need to go get me one of these country boys. And Dax is like, stop it. And then so he goes, pulls the phone out. He's like, here go one right here, because he's still on the phone with Dax. And he goes, hey baby, and then like does like a little kind of thing. And so Dax is on the phone, he's like, stop that. And the dude is like, what the heck did you just say to me? So JB, I guess, is like the freaking punk of the town. So the other guy's like, yeah, that's the dude that grabbed my behind. And he's like, oh, for real? He's like, look, like, he didn't realize it was a whole bunch of them. So then Victor was like, look, guys, I'm sorry. Like, I had too much to drink. And all you hear is Dax, like, look, just get out of there. Like, just stop. So he got the phone like this. He's like, no, I don't think you had too much to drink. I think you meant everything you said. And he's like, look, why don't I go in there, get you guys a couple of drinks, and we just forget about it. Like, I'll just get up out of here. And he's like, nah, like, I don't think, he's like, hey, so he's flustered because he's trying to find words. And JB's like, you're just what? And then I don't know what Victor tried to do. He made like a sudden move, and JB just like choked him up. And then all you see is these other dudes like grabbing him. And we see next week he is beat down, like unconscious, looking like he dead. All right. Let's hope that they don't kill Victor off that soon. Okay. Dax, I was thinking Dax was about to get up and be like, you know what, I'm driving up there. He probably is. Because I see at some point, I think Valerie and Dax are out there. So maybe that's why they showed up. Like I said, they're going to try and have Dr. Allen revive him or whatever's going on. 10 cc's of this. And the sheriff is like, I don't trust it. But they brought him over there. So then Brody's like, you really trying to have a murder out here in Happy? Like, is that what you're trying to do? Somebody's giving JB a call about where Shelby might be. He's smoking a cigarette. Surprise. Did we see Shelby? I don't remember. I know we see the mama. We see her again. And Bonnie is in there. And so she's talking to Bonnie. She's like, why is she here? And just all. So the mama is over Anna. Not happy to see you at all. You know what I'm saying? But y'all, that's the review for the show tonight. Not my best. I hope I'm back. I hope it was better than last week. Because I knew that was not my best review. If Loving You Is Wrong is on tomorrow night, so you know I'm here for it. Check that out, y'all. Appreciative of everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Be cool. It's your girl, Jada J. Peace.